Teen Speak. Empowering today's youth. The purpose of Teen Speak is to allow teens a safe space to share stories and strategies around challenges and inspire other teens on how to meet their own challenges or make their mark in our world. Some of our guests may have done some inspiring things that may not resonate with everyone's views, be it personal or political. This is not a political podcast, and though we have our own personal views, our guests do not necessarily reflect our views. They are simply here to share a story and experience in hopes it inspires others to be the best version of themselves and make the impact they desire in the world.
Welcome to another episode of Teen Speak, Empowering Today's Youth. I am Antoine Thompson, Coach T here in North Carolina.
And I am Keith Senza, Youth Empowerment and Leadership Coach based in New York.
And today we have another young man, and I have had the pleasure of working with and building a great relationship with that I still have to this day. Daquarius Foggie, or as he's better known as DQ, went to A.L. Brown High School, played basketball, phenomenal player. And I will tell you, Keith, this young man is probably one of the smoothest basketball players you will ever see. You see a lot of people run around frantic with all this overexertion and all that. He's a smart player that just has a quick first step and, strong, and work with him long enough to see him start dunking, which is a great thing to do. But I wanted to, before we bring DQ on here, I just want to give a little bit of how we met, and I think it'll set up a good foundation for what we're going to be talking about. When you meet people, you always have this perception of who you think they are or who they really are. But then when you meet them, you're like, hey, you're not who I thought you were. And it doesn't seem like that's who you really are. And that's the kind of relationship DQ and I started off with. It wasn't the best relationship at the beginning because we're trying to feel each other out. I had this perception of who he was, but I was getting something different. And as we worked together, it was just one of those things where I think he started peeling back the layers and realizing that, hey, Coach probably knows who I am better than I thought I did. So that's one of the things I'd love to talk to you about first. But first and foremost, we want to welcome you to Teen Speak. We're really excited about having you and really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to meet us.
Yeah, thank you.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about you that we don't know.
Well, I'm from Kannapolis, small town, probably like 15 minutes away from Charlotte, 15 minutes away from Salisbury. I don't really do too much. I try to stay in the gym. I like to work, get my own money, stack my money. Yeah, and I don't really do too much. I just try to stay as out the way as possible and stay away from trouble as much as I can. So yeah, that's all we really can do.
So going right into what I was saying before, do you agree with my assessment of kind of how we first met? When we first met, did you really sense that same thing that I shared?
Heck yeah, because I didn't know what I was walking into. I ain't gonna lie to you, because it was my first time, one-on-one training with somebody. And I was a freshman then, sophomore. So I was like 14, 15. So 15 years. And I started playing when I was third grade? I started playing basketball when I was in third grade. So I was like 8. I started late. So when I walked in, I was like, dang, my young gotta stay. Like, you remember? I was like, gotta stay. I'm good. Like, we hooping. So heck yeah. Once I got that feel, I was like, oh yeah, this like home for real.
So I think it's a process of being introduced to something you're not used to, and you think you know something, and then you find out you don't know as much as you thought you knew.
Right.
You think that's fair to say?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Keith, you want to ask him anything about that?
Yeah. So I guess what was that moment with Coach T where you realized that this guy knows me, this guy gets me, where kind of the light bulb went off and you realized that there's something here?
It was really day one. Like, he was telling me a few stuff and I'd catch up on it. I'd be like, all right, that makes sense. And then just really months on, just working out. And then he seeing how I was progressing, and then me seeing how I was progressing. It's like, oh yeah, he know what he talking about for real. Like, this is not no A.L. Brown basketball or no one of them coaches off of the street telling you to come play with them. No, this is for real. Like, this is a real organization. He know what he doing, and he trying to make you better. So once I started seeing that, like after the first month, I was like, oh yeah, I need to go every Saturday. Went every Saturday. Then he started doing the clinics on Sunday. Went every Sunday. Then I just went to the camps, every week. That was a whole week. Went to almost every camp for the past three years. So I was like, this serious. Like, and he actually tried to like help me. Was the only person throughout my high school career that helped me. The only person. My high school coach didn't help me. He was coaching for 25 years plus. The assistant coach was there for about 10 years plus, didn't help me. None of the athletic directors in high school helped me. They didn't give us film. They didn't do none of that. Coach T did.
Why do you think that is?
Because he probably just seen it in me. Like, and I can't say we done had a lot of people come out of Kannapolis that was good, but nobody ever went nowhere. So I think once I told Coach T that, he was like, oh, man, like, you definitely got it. Like, you need to be going somewhere, like, with basketball, period. So once I started seeing it, or just period in a whole, because I already know Coach T already felt me out the rip, like, bro, I'm trying to get better. Like, that's all I want to do. So once he seen that I was wanted to get better, he already knew he in. Like, he full time with it. And I definitely was. Every weekend, every Sunday, just period. I even started working out with the younger kids. So yeah.
So I think one of the things, Keith, I'll share with you, and it's one of the things that DQ and I talked a lot about too when he was talking about his coaches not helping and things of that nature. Is one of the biggest issues in youth sports, high school sports specifically, and I'll use basketball, is in my time when I was coaching in high school as a JV coach and a freshman coach, the varsity coach always preached about not just building up the skills of the players, but putting them on a path to the next area they're going to be in. That means it's either in college and then beyond. And coaches no longer do that. They focus more on the game and not about the personal growth and development of the players. And what DQ is talking about is you have players with talent that can go and play in college. All they have to do is make a phone call, send an email to a college coach. Hey, I got a player that I think could help your program. They invite him up for a workout or something to that effect, or, they just kind of start communicating. When those things don't happen, it doesn't give these young people an opportunity to have nothing to shoot for or strive for. And I'm going to kind of set you up here, DQ, because I would love for you to kind of follow up on this. When he did, after he graduated, one of the former coaches went on to a college nearby and then reached out to him about coming to play there. And DQ, if you wouldn't mind, just kind of pick up on that and share with Keith and our audience kind of how that process worked out.
So boom, I was already going to Winston-Salem State University, HBCU in Winston. So I had filled out all my paperwork, had my housing done, had almost everything done. When I got a call from my assistant coach, he like, I'm doing a JUCO basketball program in Charlotte, but the classes are online. So it's an online class, it's online classes, and you'll be practicing in Charlotte. So I'm like, all right, like, are you serious? Like, he like, yeah, I'm serious. I'm super serious. I already got players. I got people who you don't even know. I got people coming from here, just talking. So I'm like, all right, that sound about right. I lock in for what? 2-3 weeks. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, as a matter of fact. And our game was coming up, like literally coming up. We had my last day of practice was that Thursday because we don't never practice on Fridays. We played that Saturday. He told me that Thursday after practice that I owe him some money. So I'm like, I owe you some money. Who the athletic director or the person ahead of you? Because that's who I obviously owe. Because I had checked, because most of the time when you check your FAFSA or check your financial, how much money you owe towards the school. So I checked it or whatnot, and it was only $600. So I was like, all right, that ain't bad. I got that saved up, like $600. Boom. I called him. He don't answer. I'm like, all right, he must be doing something. Called him about 2-3 more hours later. No answer. Called him again. No answer. Sent him a text message like, hey, man, I got this money that you was talking about that I owe. No text back. I said, okay, all right. And this is this Thursday. Our game is Saturday. Everybody can play. Everybody that's on the roster can play, except for me right now. So I'm like, all right. I check it one more time because it can go up or down dealing with colleges. So I check it again. It went to $3,000. And a JUCO is 2 years. So I'm like, nah, something ain't right. Something ain't right at all. Call him again, no answer. I say, all right, freak. I can't keep trying if he's not answering and I don't have nobody else to give a call to. So I'm just like, all right. So boom, he calling me. What was that Monday? He calling me. He like, where you at? Where you at? I'm like, where I'm at. You didn't pick up the phone Thursday. I'm not playing no more, bro. Like, cause first off, you lied about us being this top JUCO program in Charlotte, and we in a SMAC conference that don't even make sense. And mind you, this is a JUCO program that's almost like a post grad. So we playing high schoolers and bums, to be honest with you. But you done lied. You done lied and done got everybody done lied and told everybody that it's this, it's that, it's we finna be doing this, we finna be the top program, we finna be the top. We ain't none of that. When you really just scrape some people off of the JUCO football squad and put them on the basketball team, and got some people out of Kannapolis, about 4 or 5 people out of Kannapolis who you knew was gonna play, but you want to play me. So that's why I was like, I see what it is. Never, I didn't give them no money. I just ended it right after that Thursday because, mind you, it was only $600 to begin with. If I would have gave you that $600, everything would have been copacetic. Everything would have been good, cool. But you want to do all of this, so I check it again and go up to $3,000. Then I ask you what's the problem, and I'm the only person they gotta pay. Then nobody pay, and they finished the year out without me and was sorry. So, and I was your guard, so that was his loss, and I dealt with it. I was kind of mad because I could have just been at Winston playing, or would have walked on and would have did whatever at Winston because it was gonna be probably that easy. Not saying it like that, but ain't no chip on my shoulder, bro. I do whatever it takes for basketball, at least. Like, so that's why I was just like, you didn't have to lie or do none of that to get me to come when you could have just told the truth. Like, hey man, it might be janky for the first year, but I really need you. Like, you ain't have to do all of that crazy stuff. Like, a waste of time, a waste of my legs, a waste of working out, a waste of all of that for me not to play. And you told me that Thursday, so that's the same week as that Saturday. So that's why I was just like, yeah, it felt like a slap in the face, some janky work. All of it was just janky. So I just left it alone. Still to this day, I can respect you because you done did a lot of stuff, but I can't talk to you at all, man. You too janky. That wasn't even right. Like,
yeah. Let me ask you a question. Like, you just shared that whole experience, right? Sounds pretty annoying and frustrating to begin with, right? Like, what's the lesson there for you? Like, what did you come out of with that? Like, what lesson did you learn from? Because sometimes, right, we have to have adversity, or we have to deal with struggles and things, and it's not fun. But if you see it through that lens, there's always something you can learn from that experience to make you better, or to give you what you need to ensure you don't put yourself in that situation again. So, like, what was the lesson that came out of the experience for you?
Lesson I learned out of that whole thing is go with what you don't know. Don't go with what you know. Because mind you, Coach Brown, he was a cool coach. Don't get me wrong. He was a cool coach. But he didn't like me from my freshman year until my junior year. Why? Because I didn't want to put in the work my freshman year and my sophomore year to play varsity and sit the bench. No. Until my junior year when I really started putting in work and starting my senior year. So he kind of turned, you know what I'm saying? He turned, like, at first you didn't like me, now you in love with me. Then you really love me because I'm at your school. But really, in my eyes, I should have went to Winston or should have went to any other institute and tried it like that because I wouldn't have known. But me not knowing that you was gonna do something like that, but I know that that's you, so I'm gonna go with it. You did this, so now I definitely learned. Like, yeah, I'm gonna start going with what I don't know in situations like that. Like,
and it takes courage, actually, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
With what you don't know, right? Most people take the easy way out, or they go with the comfort place because it's comfortable. But the truth is, no growth happens in the comfort zone, right? You got to step outside. Right. I think it's great that a lesson that you got from that was to go with what you don't know and put yourself out there. I think that always will lead to success. So that's a great reflection and a great lesson you just gave us. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about you, D. You go through experiences and you learn from them, and it's just like any of the other conversations and things that we've gone through or we've talked about. Is you learn from your experiences, but then it's what you do after. And even when we talk now, you're no longer in North Carolina, you're Virginia, and you're forging a new chapter in your life. And we talked about with you working. I know you're a hard-working young man, and right now I think you're working 2 jobs. And what does the next 3 years look like in your plan? Not just like pie in the sky, but as far as your plan for the next 3 years to get to where you want to be.
Well, I'm gonna still continue to do the same thing, just maintaining, really trying to get a higher learning, man. Really, that's what I want to do, higher learning, and just stay as low key and away from everybody as possible as I can. Cause not saying I don't like people, but I don't like dealing with people. Not saying it like that, but the people that I know and from my city, like I don't want to deal with them. I want to see new people, higher learning, new stuff. So, but in the next 3 years, yeah, I definitely see myself somewhere just sitting back, you know what I'm saying, chilling, you know. But nah, seriously, I don't just at a good job, a good school, got my own spot, taking care of everybody I need to take care of, making sure my mom good. Just the same old, just a little bit different and older. So I can't say that.
So along those lines, with you talking about what I asked you about the next 3 years, and when we talked a few weeks ago, it was the first time I knew you had left North Carolina because you had just gotten to Virginia.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about what about you knowing that staying in Kannapolis was not in your best interest and that you needed a new environment.
So I ain't even gonna lie to you. I already knew that in high school, like just how certain people act. Cause I don't fit in. I can't say that I don't fit in with nobody. Like I would tell you that I don't fit in with you. Like with you, with your crowd, how you moving, how they moving. I don't care. I'll be by myself before I just fake it till I make it. Or oh, I'm trying to fit in with them because they cool. Nah, that's why I be saying be you all the time. So really, like after high school, like after I started doing like 2 or 3 jobs and I wasn't liking them, I'm like, nah, this ain't it. Then I started doing a little bit more stuff that I ain't had no business doing. That's why I'm like, nah, that ain't it neither. So just really like right after high school, and because it's 2023 now, so about that whole year 2021 and about half of the year 2022, that's why I was like, yeah, nah, this crowd ain't for me, because you never know who with you, you never know who against you, you never know who got your back until something really happened. Like, so I definitely seen and done learned a lot just off of from people and people who not around. Like I'm already knowing some people not real, some people faker than ever, some people gonna talk behind your back, some people gonna throw you under the bus. You don't never know. So that's why I say Kannapolis, that's a no go. I can't stay down there no more, and I'm glad I'm away too. Like I'm actually really glad that like I don't need to be around there.
You know, I love what you said about that. You said about not fitting in. I'm not going to fake it till I make it.
Oh yeah,
You
that,
know,
Coach T will tell you too. I tell the kids that don't try to be something you not. Like if you're not a Chris Paul and a Steph Curry, don't go out there thinking you can be Steph Curry and Chris Paul. That's not gonna happen, because somebody gonna get you at half court and gonna sit you down and take the ball every time. So
well, it's also when you're faking it and you're trying to be somebody you're not. Eventually, you get found out,
oh, there it is.
and that never feels good,
Oh,
right?
oh,
So, and how much energy does it take to fake it, right? Like how much of your energy does it take to try to be what you're not? It's like it just takes so much out of you.
yeah,
And you're not even happy because it's costing you so much to be there. And then you get found out, and then you're like, it wasn't even worth it, right? And you can't take any of that time back, and you lost all that time and all that negative energy that you put into it. So I think it's great that you're like, you know what?
right.
It's all about authenticity, right? If you could just be your authentic self, you're going to attract the people to you.
There it is. Every
So,
time. That's what I learned too. Like I don't gotta be around no crowd or none of that to just be cool.
But back to what Keith was talking about. That's the one thing that I admire about you too is in that I got to learn about you is that you have no problem standing alone, and you have a small circle. And there are a few people that I know that you used to hang out with that you didn't. And what I will share is one of those individuals you are actually trying to get on the right path. because you knew that that was in his best interest. And I think you have the power to influence your peers. And I think that's one of the things I think is a strength of yours that you may or may not know about, but just the way you've shared with me how you try to get people um, on the straight and narrow, if you will. And even though you realize that, hey, I can't stay here, but I can try to bring people along while I'm here to kind of get them right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I do want to share this one story with you about DQ, which I think speaks volumes to his character. During one of the summer camps that we had, he got hurt. I believe it's about midweek. He was having some trouble with his back and hurt his back. And our camp was a 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and pretty intense. We played games, drills, the whole nine. So he let him know he couldn't. His back was bothering him, and on the last day of camp, the parents come get to watch some of the activities that we do that we've learned throughout the week. I had no expectations of seeing him because he was hurt. Last day of camp, this young man shows up and supports his fellow campers, and gets his certificate, T-shirt, and all the good stuff like that. That just catapulted my perception and my respect for him, because he was committed to something even though he couldn't commit. And it reminds me of a saying that I always tell my players is be in the game even when you're not in the game. And that was one of those experiences. I don't know if I ever told you my thoughts on that, DQ, but I just wanted to let you know I gained a lot more respect for you that particular week when you showed up, when you couldn't participate at a summer camp.
Yeah.
Well, don't feel bad. Keith and I are a little bit older than you, so we know about back
Yeah,
pain.
we know about aches and pains.
Yeah.
Getting in and out of the car is like a whole ordeal right now.
Getting in.
You gotta getting in. It's like, wait, hold on, I gotta pick up, or
And then
Oh.
standing up on your feet all day, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be a little spicy when you get home.
Yeah, you're spicy. Well, look, DQ, we got I got some questions I want to ask you,
All right.
and these are no right or wrong. We just want to get your feedback. And before I start, there, I want to give Keith another chance to ask you a question.
I just want to ask you one quick question. So, like, what's next for you? Like, I know you said you want to go to school, right? Like what do you want to do? Like, what's the impact you want to make in the world, and how do you want to do that?
Dang, that's a good question, man. I ain't gonna lie. I get asked that.
Good questions.
That's a great question, man. And I don't want to say the wrong answer.
There is no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer.
What's in your heart?
I'm still trying to learn myself. Like, to be honest with you, I'm definitely am. Like,
it's okay.
I'm still trying to learn and get my feet in everything I really can before I set aside or set along on something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I'm just really trying to figure stuff out. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Still trying to figure stuff out. Still trying to get a move on everything. Still trying to fill out everything because I'm still young. I'm only 20, so that's why I say I'm still learning. I'm still learning. So I do want to go back to school though. I can't say that. I definitely do. Like want to play on somebody's team again. All of that. But I do want to get how I learn more than what I do know as of right now. So
yeah. Well, listen, I'm 54. I'm still learning. Right? So we're always learning. And you know what? You've got two people here. So if you ever you need some guidance or just some, to flesh it out, you got two people right here you can talk to help you find that path.
Right.
I'm sure whatever you set your mind to, you're gonna be great at it.
Right. Appreciate you, man.
Yep. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. And he's 100% right, D. If Keith is like my brother from another mother, man. We align and think the same thing, and we both have the same mission, and that's helping young people like yourself find what they need. And matter of fact, his tagline is helping kids find their true north, and mine is educate, support, and inspire. And so we educate, support, and inspire young people to find their true north. That's how we combine that. That's why we're two peas in a pod, man. Our stuff just flows well together. I like that, Keith. We may have to make that our tagline for this podcast. I like that. I like that. So, DQ, we're going to get to these questions that are no right or wrong. Just want to get your feedback and just Just tell us what you think. And like I said, there's no right or wrong. So my first question is, who is your biggest influence and why?
Hmm. Let me see. I got two. I got two. My mama. I gotta say Mom Dukes and Nipsey Hussle. I
Okay.
like, I like, and I can't. I say my mama because she always done everything by herself from the time she was 18. Cause her mama, she got locked up, and now she got to do 25 to life, and she never had no dad. I mean, she did, but he was never there. So, and then I say Nipsey Hussle because he kind of done did the same thing at a young age that I was doing, like still, because Nipsey Hussle passed away. So, and then what he did to overcome his situation is where he came from. He started on the corner and made a whole center mall. So T-shirts, selling CDs, selling clothes, just everything he could think of to put in the center mall. He did it, and it went overboard than what he thought and expected. His music went crazy. His clothes and shoes and everything. He started signing deals with Puma. Got a lovely young lady. You feel me? A wife, as a matter of fact. Um, just everything in general. Like it's a lot that he definitely done put a stain on me that I can look up to and understand. So that's why I say kind of Nipsey Hussle and my mama for real.
Okay. Yeah, well, I knew your mom was going to be one there. She is a
Oh yeah.
strong lady, man. She's a hard working lady, and I have a lot of respect for her, just as I
Oh, yeah.
do for you. All right. So the next question is, what is your biggest strength, and how would you use it as a superpower?
Biggest strength. Mm, shoot. Well, hey, just being you. That's my for real. If you ask me, like I can't say like it's a lot of people who say, well, when I talk to you, I don't know what to say. Just say whatever, like whatever on your mind or just anything. That's how it's always supposed to be. However you feel. Like, all right, I'm prime example. My mama always said, whatever comes up comes out with him. Like, just that's just how it's gonna be. Like, I don't care what it is or just how it is. However you feel about it, you gotta voice your opinion. You have to, even if it's kind of harsh, not real. It don't matter. You gotta say how you feel, and just always be yourself for real. Always.
Authenticity is a huge superpower.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
say,
I like that.
yeah,
And a lot of people can do it. It's one of I think that's one of those superpowers that not everybody possesses. A lot of people struggle to
yeah,
be authentic because they're worried about what other people think. So
all right,
they don't always act their true self. The
yeah.
fact that you can, I think that's a
I
huge strength.
didn't even care. Like Coach T will tell you, them them summer leagues we used to have at House Gym. Oh my God, you got people on the sidelines. Man, sit down, man. Watch this. Yeah, we gonna. And that's what happened every time. Like every time. Even though we used to suck. Coach T, man, we suck, man. Every game, like I even had to start. I had to pull two people. Like, hey man, I need your help, man. I'm the only one, bro. Like I need you, bro. Still didn't
Yeah.
win. So that's why I was like, yeah, that right there, that was a learning lesson. That definitely was. And I still used everybody. Still helped everybody who couldn't play at all, because couldn't nobody play on the team. Like I definitely had a scrub team. Like couldn't nobody dribble up the court but me. Probably shoot a little bit of the tray ball, but other than that, nah, bro. And you getting subbed every 4 minutes. So I'm coming out. So once I come out, I'm coaching too with the other coach on the sideline. Like, hey, do this. Just to help people, bro. You just gotta always be you though.
Yeah. No, that's great. I like that. And I do remember that the summer come and watch you play in your summer. Yeah, you described it just about accurate. So share with us your biggest failure and the lesson that you learned from it. You probably shared it, I think, but is
Uh
there something else?
yeah, biggest lesson learned or biggest failure that I done had is you can't trust everybody, man. You really can't. You can't trust everybody. Trusting the wrong people, you might have get burnt. You might get burnt. Like just because, man, you can't trust everybody, man. It might sound good, but in the end, or just along the ride, you will see over time. And definitely when something happens, you will see who behind you, man. So that's why I say don't trust everybody, man. Everybody.
I think Keith had a question he wanted to ask you.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, with the trust, like, I think it's an important distinction to make, right? Because, like, I agree, right? We can't trust the people that rub us the wrong way.
Yeah.
But, then there's the other side of it. Like, you don't know somebody, right? You don't know somebody. So it's like, how do you determine if you can trust that, right? Like, if we all went around, like, not trusting anybody,
Right.
we would never have, right? So, like, I knew what you meant. I was just drawing a distinction, right? Like, when somebody doesn't rub you the right way, or you just don't feel there's something there, your instinct kicks in, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, it doesn't feel right. That's when you have to learn to say, you know what, I'm gonna keep this person at a distance, right?
I ain't even gonna act funny around you or none of that. I'm just gonna keep my distance. I ain't gonna talk about you, none of that. Just I don't want no parts in that at all.
Yeah. I only said that because sometimes you think you know somebody, right? You don't know somebody, and sometimes that person you don't know could be somebody that could be just an amazing connection for you, right? But like, if we walk around not trusting all the time, we don't always get the opportunity to meet that person, So it's like you have to. It's hard to draw that fine line sometimes between like, I want to trust, but I got to keep my guard up, and I got to just make sure I protect myself. And I think that's a really hard thing to teach teens. So the fact that you kind of talk about it and are able to understand that concept, I think that's really important thing for other teens to learn, because you have to give people a chance, but then they have to make the impression, and if it doesn't feel right, you have to know this isn't good for me.
And then you'll know, I'm telling you, once you feel that vibe or just period, you gonna know like, oh nah, this ain't even it.
Well, Deep, man, this has been great, man. We appreciate your candidness and openness to share with us and your experiences, but more importantly, honesty, open honesty, and authentic self, which is you, which is what I knew you'd bring. And I shared with Keith before you got on, not before you got on, but just a little bit about you and what I know about you. And I knew he'd appreciate your openness and honesty.
Yeah.
Any words of encouragement for the next generation, your generation of young people?
What I say, go with what you don't know. Always be you. Quitting is no option. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Very true.
the marathon will always continue. Literally. Quitting is not an option.
That's a good one.
I got a lot. Hold on.
You got more?
Yeah, I'll be writing down quotes. If I like it, I'll write it down. It's true that they hate on the ones that's gifted. Yeah, that's really it. Really, that main one is quitting is no option though. That's my main one. For real. Yeah. I ain't never been no quitter, and it ain't never been in my vocabulary to quit. So you just can't
go places.
Never quit.
Well, again, like I said, man, I know on Keith's behalf, and I'll give him opportunity to kind of have his last words, but I just want to tell you, I thank you, and I have a lot of respect for you, and I'm really glad to see that you're still pushing forward and still have goals for yourself. And, I'm always just a phone call away or text away if you need any questions or anything like that.
I got one question for you.
Yes, sir.
How Randolph looking this year?
Woo, not good. I just looked last night. It's funny you say that. I just looked last night. They are 1-10 in the conference, and I need to give Coach Hamilton and Coach Clay a call. Yeah, we might have to get you up there.
Yeah.
Quick. Yeah. I'm gonna. Matter of fact, yeah, they definitely could use some help.
Yes, seriously.
Yeah, I will definitely do that.
How far is that from
from you? Yeah, they're in
Portsmouth.
They are in you're not too far because they play Eastern Mennonite, which is not far from where you are. So I think a couple of hours probably a couple of hours.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Definitely.
I'll definitely do that. So Keith, you're my accountability coach. You make sure you ask and follow up because DQ is going to let you know where he is with that.
100%. And listen, man, DQ, it's great to meet you. I'm so glad that you came on. And really, like, your authenticity, it shines through on you. Like it's so clear that like what you see is what you get with you.
Yeah.
And I think that, like I said, to me, that is such a hard you can't teach that. You
Yeah.
either have it or you don't, and or you develop it over time. But at your age, to have that authenticity and to be that way, I think that speaks volumes about your character. And I'm honored to have you on the show and to get to meet you, buddy.
Oh yeah, I appreciate y'all for having me, man.
As always, we always leave you with our little quote here. Your limitations are only the ones you put on yourself.
And just be you, because everybody else is already taken.
Mm-hmm.
Till next episode. Peace.
Peace out.
If you are looking for a youth empowerment and leadership coach that can help your teenager find their true north through education, support, and inspiration, you need look no further. You can reach Coach Keith Senzer through his website, shiftyourpower.com. Coach T can be reached through his website as well, coachtscorner.com.